In today's brief video, I want to speak to you guys about how to quit smoking weed and quit vaping cold turkey, which in my opinion is the absolute best way to quit. Before I jump into the video, two quick things. If you like this content, there's a free course that you can find in the pinned comment below. And if you find today's video valuable, I would highly recommend getting the book Rational Recovery by Jack Trimpey. Much of the video information today is derived from this book. When you are addicted to a substance, whether it be weed, nicotine, alcohol, opioids, it doesn't matter what it is. There's two voices or two separate conversations occurring inside your head. There's the addicted voice, and then there's the human voice. The addicted voice is something that we're going to call it, okay? It speaks to us. Then we have our human voice, and this is us. This is actually how we feel, how we are as a person. So there's two separate voices having a conversation at any given moment, and chances are they're both speaking to you right now. So the addicted voice, which we're going to call it, speaks to us all the time. And when you recognize that addicted voice, and when you realize that you have the ability to tell it to shut the F up, quitting an addiction becomes much, much easier. Let me give you an example. Instead of saying, I want to smoke right now, you would rephrase that to, it wants to smoke right now. Because if you are trying to quit, you don't actually want to smoke weed right now. But that addictive voice, that beast that lives inside your animal brain, that does want to smoke right now. It wants to smoke right now. I need to smoke. It needs to smoke. Reframe, gosh, I'm really craving a cigarette. Gosh, I'm really craving some weed. It's really craving some weed. Reframe how you speak to yourself so you can start to see this addiction as something that's separate from you, because you are not defined by this addictive voice. Now, here's the thing about the addictive voice. It cares very little about you. It's the most selfish, narcissistic little bastard that there is in the world. It will starve you of your finances. It will starve you of your relationships. It will starve you of your health physically and mentally. And maybe most importantly, it does not value your time. You care about your relationships. You care about your time. You care about your health. You care about your finances. That's why you want to quit. It doesn't care about those things. And it's been depriving you of all the things in life that you deserve, the things in life that you're entitled to work towards achieving for long enough. So today, right now, at this time, at the end of this video, it's time you give it a taste of its own medicine. It's time that we begin starving that addictive voice in the same way that it's been starving us for all the years, months, or days that you've suffered and struggled with active addiction to nicotine, THC, energy drinks, and adult media content. And hey, you might have more than one voice, and go ahead, name these voices in your head. No, you're not crazy, I promise. I promise you're not going crazy. But you might have an addictive voice to go watch porn, an addictive voice to go use nicotine, an addictive voice to go drink alcohol. All I need you to do is recognize each of those voices and start to call them out. And then when you do start quitting, when you do start to deprive that addictive voice of the things that it wants, because we don't care what it wants, we care what we want, it's going to let you know. You're going to feel some withdrawals. You're going to feel some pain. There's going to be a little bit of suffering. And that's just part of the game. That's part of the deal. But at least in this scenario, you're choosing to suffer to get better in the long run. You're overcoming addiction on your own terms. I had a community member ask me earlier, they said, Dr. Frank, I can't quit. I can't take time off of work. I can't check myself into a detox for marijuana. I don't have the time to do it. And I said to the person, one, you don't need a detox for marijuana in most cases, unless you have very severe cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome and you're suffering from severe dehydration. You don't need a supervised detox. So that's the it voice talking. That's that voice talking to this person saying, now this is the addictive voice talking directly to you. You can't quit because you can't go to detox. That's not true. That's a lie that addictive voice is telling us, especially when it comes to weed. The only drugs you need medical detox for are really benzodiazepines and alcohol. The person also said, I don't have time to take off of my job. And I said, listen, no, you have an opportunity right now to quit on your own terms. But based on how poorly it sounded like this individual was doing, I warned them, if you don't address this now, eventually you might be forced to take off of your job. And it won't be because you chose to. It will be on addiction's terms. And we are no longer playing by addiction's terms and regulations. We're playing by the rules that you set forth, by the things that you want to go accomplish, by the things that you want to go achieve. So start to speak to yourself differently. And when you start to kill this little voice, when it starts dying or whatever you want to call it, that addictive voice, it's going to make a scene. And guess what? Celebrate every step of the way, because that's you beating the piss out of this addictive voice. That's you beating the piss out of this thing that's been putting you through the ringer for the last several years. And guess what? The louder you, the more withdrawals you feel, the more you suffer, just know that you're getting 1 day closer, 1 second closer to beating this thing once and for all. And that's something that's truly worth celebrating. I guarantee you that. I promise you that. Let me know in the video comments below, guys. Are you going to go pick up a copy of this book? Because if you found that to be interesting, there's about 200 pages of that summed up in this book. You can find it in the pinned comment.